right, everybody, welcome in to another episode of Load the Box. This week's episode taking a look ahead to the T-shirt and hat game that we have in Detroit, one of three remaining away divisional games the Vikings have to close out their season. Of course, they also have the Giants and Colts in there, but this week, just talking about Detroit, just talking about whether or not the Vikings clinch the division on Sunday, because that is what's on the line. It's going to be it feels like a big game. And it's weird because it's Detroit and it's late in the season. So usually at this point, we kind of assume we're going to beat Detroit, but then we lose to them anyway, right? So that's historically how it goes. Joining me as always, Will Goodwin. Will, how are you feeling about the T-shirt and hat game?
It's an exciting one. I mean, it's sort of there's a lot of different storylines that, if you really wanted to break it down and get all minutia, get into the minutia, you could. I mean, TJ Hawkinson going back to the Lions, facing them for the first time since his departure. KJ Osborne and Kirk Cousins are going home. So there's that. There's obviously just divisional road game. There's a lot of things going on. The Lions are on a little bit of a mini streak right now, winning 4 of their last 5. So there's a lot on the table, a lot of different factors going on, and it's definitely not your typical 10-2 versus 5-7 type game where, the 10-2 team is favored. In fact, Detroit is favored in this game by 2.5 points. So maybe we'll start there, Jordan. What do you think makes this such a strange sort of? The Vikings are going into this as the underdog with a 5-game lead in the division over their opponent.
Well, I think what we're seeing is the Vikings continue to either win very close games or they get blown out, right? And that's how the season has went, except for the week 1 win against Green Bay. So. Detroit's playing really good football. I think they're on is it a 5-game win streak that they're on, or is it just a 4?
4 out of their last 5.
Is it okay? So 4 out of the last 5 games have been W's. Jared Goff is playing some really good football. It's in Detroit, and the gambler in me, if you go back and watch Monday's show, the post game show for the. Who did we even play on Sunday? It doesn't even matter. Thank you.
Seems like forever ago.
It feels like a millennium ago. If you go back and watch the post-game show for the Jets, we kind of touched late in that show about how Detroit opened as 1-point favorites, I believe. And now it's up to 2.5. So hearing that the line has moved that much, that means a lot of money is coming in on the Detroit Lions, which means either one, the public does not like the Vikings, and when I say the public, I mean like 90% of the public, or it means that there are some high rollers in certain deserts in the middle of the country, or towards the western middle of the country, that they put a lot of money on this game. So I think the line always shows me a lot of how a game's going to go, but the Vikings have been what does O'Connell call a situational masters. They've showed that all season that they are that. So we'll see where we're at come 15 minutes to go in the game. If it's close, I think the Vikings have the Lions right where they want. But the Lions do have that potency on offense. They can boat race you. If you do not come out and start hot, they can jump out really quick. They're a very dangerous offense, and I want to get your take on this Lions offense that's really been clicking as of late.
Yeah, it's a really interesting sort of team because their defense is terrible. They rank last in the league in about every category when it comes to yards per play, points allowed, points per drive. It's a really bad defense statistically. But in the last few games, they've only allowed 20 points per game. So in this little 5-game mini streak that they have going on. So their defense is improving, at least, depending on how you want to look at it. The offenses they've played haven't exactly been potent, but nonetheless, allowing 20 points a game, or 19.8 to be exact, is nothing to sniff at. So the offensive side of the ball, that's really the story though, right? I mean, like you said, they're potent. They put up 40 twice this season, 31 and above a handful of more times. On the season, they're averaging, in the 27-ish range, I believe, but in the last 5, they're averaging 24. So in the last 5, they're averaging 28. They're a very explosive offense. They got playmakers everywhere. It's such a strange situation where normally the Lions are the doormat, but this is a Lions team that frankly has just not been able to finish games, and that's kind of why they're sitting at 5-7. They're in a way they're kind of the Vikings of 2021. Like the Vikings last year were 6-8 in one-score games. The Lions this year are 2-5. I mean, frankly, that's kind of the difference between the Vikings this year and the Lions this year is one-score games. The Vikings have been able to finish them. The Lions have not. And, there's your separation in the division. So this offense is potent almost everywhere. Losing Hawkinson hurts them a little bit at the tight end position. They have had some decent, fill-ins from the guys who have stepped up and to replace him. But the real headliners, DeAndre Swift, Josh Reynolds had a big game against us in week 3. Obviously, Amon-Ra St. Brown, we don't need to talk too much about him. He's electric on the outside. He had the game winner against the Vikings last year. So, they got playmakers everywhere, and Jared Goff has done, for the most part, a really good job getting the ball out to them and limiting his mistakes for the most part. And so, really, if you're the Vikings, you cannot have some sort of clunker to start the game defensively because you could find yourself in a deep hole. The last thing I'll just say on this, this little 5-game stretch that the Lions are in that we've mentioned a few times here is really sort of what I'm trying to look at as like a microcosm of what this team is right now. Again, with the caveat that they're playing maybe a lower tier of opponent. Nonetheless, they're 4-1. Another thing that I wanted to point out with that is on the season, they have 14 turnovers, which isn't honestly that many, but in this last 5-game stretch, they've only had 3, and Jared Goff has only had 1. So that's a big part of their success. They have taken the ball away from their opponents. They have 9 takeaways and then only these 3 turnovers. So they are keeping the ball and they're taking it away, and that enables their explosive offense to go up and down the field like they have been most of the season. So the Vikings will have their hands full. This isn't the Patriots offense. This isn't the Jets offense. Some of these sort of, water pistol offenses we've seen in the last couple weeks.
I think what's so dangerous about their offense, specifically in the matchup with Minnesota, is and maybe it's going to change. Maybe Donatel will have some wrinkles thrown in after we beat them in, what was that, week 3. But if we're going to let them take what's underneath, their wide receivers are so dangerous with the ball in their hands. They will make you miss tackles, and they can take what should be a 5 or 6 yard gain, and they can turn it into a touchdown in the literal blink of an eye. Not to mention that, is it Jameson Williams?
Correct.
Yes, I wanted to make sure. Not to mention Jameson Williams is back. He got involved a little bit last week. He didn't have a catch, but he was out there for a few snaps on the offense. I think he's on my fantasy team, so I've been reading up on him a lot, waiting for him to just become their number 1 wide receiver late in the season, carry me home to a championship. But I think it's interesting that he's gonna be in this game. Jameson Williams is. Amon-Ra St. Brown. DJ Chark is no scrub. They just have the wide receivers are really the scariest part of the team to me, and I think a lot of people kind of feel that way. And when I say people, I mean NFL teams. They feel like we have to take that away. And then DeAndre Swift, goes for 150 yards, and Jamal Williams takes like 3 touchdowns from the 1 yard line in. So this offense, I don't think it can be understated just how potent it is. But on the flip side, let's not act like they are, that we have New England's, what did you call it? A water gun offense?
Water pistol.
Water pistol. Yeah, it's not like we have a water pistol offense of our own. We have an offense that has Coco Chains, who's playing in his home state. He's going to be feeling himself. We have the best wide receiver in the NFL, Justin Jefferson. We have Adam Thielen. Maybe he's going to be elevated after receiving the Walter Payton Man of the Year nomination to represent the Vikings in that. That's a huge thing, and I wanted to bring that up because that's really great for him, and that's really cool. Then we have Dalvin Cook, and the offensive line's been playing well. We might be getting Darisaw back. I mean, let's not act like if Detroit puts up 50, the Vikings have every chance to put up 51. I mean, legitimately. So I think it's going to be exciting to see. I think a heavyweight bout of two very powerful offenses just swinging with their best shots, and I think it's going to come down to which defense makes the big play. And our defense is kind of and I never want to say like I'm going to rely on turnovers to win us a game. But our defense has a history now of like 4 or 5 times this season. We needed a stop and we get an interception and then we take knees. So it might come down to Jared Goff overthrow on the last drive that Cam Bynum picks off. And then I'll be honest, he wore that flag. I do not know where like he is from or where is it the Philippines? Yep. So maybe, he gets the Philippines flag back, over his shoulders and he gets to drape in that, Harrison Smith or any of the guys. I mean, really any of them. So I don't know. I'm excited. Yeah. Who do you think on the Vikings offense poses the biggest threat to Detroit?
It's almost as I was prepping for this show today, I was almost just chuckling because I think my answer is everyone. And I don't mean to, joke about the Lions defense so much, but I mean, like I said, they've been better in the last few weeks, but let's keep in mind that the offenses they played were, the Jaguars and the Packers when they were at their lowest and some of these other teams that are just not so great. But like I said, their defense is bad. It's bad. And, they were able to put the Vikings in some tough situations in week 3. And, but the thing that I think that I know about that is that was the 3rd week of the O'Connell experiment. And now this is week 14. So, 12 games under our belt. There's a lot more experience with the offense, a lot more confidence. I don't foresee the Vikings struggling offensively in this game.
Right.
Now they might not put up 45 points, but I wouldn't be surprised if they did. This is a Lions defense that for the better part of this season was historically the worst in the last 23 seasons. So across the board. And so in terms of the biggest threat, I mean, they had a decent game plan against Justin Jefferson in week 3, but that was also before Justin Jefferson was really figuring out how to beat double teams. And now his ability to beat double teams, sometimes by simply just running right through them, has completely annihilated defenses, especially I'm thinking, Buffalo and the New England games were just he kind of disregarded the double teams and just dominated the game. So
absolutely.
He's kind of the obvious choice, right? But I think I also think of just TJ Hawkinson, and I'll just say it now. He's getting my game ball this week because it's not necessarily because the matchups favor him. I think the Lions, if anything, have some decent linebackers, so their ability to cover him might be okay. But I think 2 things. One, if the Vikings win this game, TJ Hawkinson is getting a game ball simply because Kirk Cousins got a game ball in Washington. Zadarius Smith got a game ball against the Packers. Patrick Peterson and Jordan Hicks got a game ball against the Cardinals. You see where I'm going here.
I think I see the pattern.
When we see a team and we beat a team that we have players that used to play for that team, that said player will get a game ball. The other one I missed was Harrison Phillips in Buffalo. So I also just see TJ Hawkinson is playing free. He's happy. Interestingly enough, the Vikings and the Lions are both 4-1 since he left. But I also just see him wanting to just stake his claim as, the Pro Bowl talent that he is, going back to Detroit, kind of to make sure they know what they lost. So I foresee a big game from 87, and I think he'll get in the end zone. He's used to finding that blue end zone in Detroit. So Yeah, I think I'll say Hawkinson. I mean, what say you? What sort of matchups do you see as something that the Vikings can exploit?
Honestly, I think that the Vikings, if we could just impose our will and do whatever we wanted, running the ball would probably be best. If Dalvin Cook could
Yeah.
have like a classic vintage Dalvin day, if we could just churn out, 4 or 5 yards a carry and just keep the ball away from Detroit. I mean, if everyone talks about Detroit's offense and how it's really turned on, and we spent a bunch of time earlier in this show even just talking about all of the weapons that they have, and okay, let's just not let them see the field. That's the best way. That's how you see a team like Indianapolis last season beat Kansas City. Granted, Kansas City had about 3 turnovers in that game, I believe, but still, the ball control, that whole thing. So I think Dalvin Cook having a big game is going to be crucial-ish to this. We'll get into score predictions and everything in a little bit. I think Dalvin will have a big second half for the Minnesota Vikings, because my score predictions tonight, spoiler, it's a whole game. It is not just like what's at the end. It is a whole game. By the way, really quickly, do want to shout out Purple Pocket Podcast says, "Skull fellas, let's smash the kittens." I appreciate that, Purple Pocket. Excuse me. And then Danny Goodwin saying, "Skull and hi." Hello, Danny. Welcome back. And thank you guys
Danny,
for
former guest of the show.
Absolutely. Danny, former guest of the show. It was a pleasure to have him on. So welcome back to Load the Box. And I'm glad you're tuned in, and I hope you're enjoying yourself. But I did want to call you out here because I just picked TJ Hawkinson to be my game ball, and honestly, kind of a expletive, whatever, kind of a bad world move by me to pick Hawkinson the week before the Detroit game. So probably should have put a little bit of false. He was right there, man. Cousins overthrew it. He was right there. I can't get over it.
And also, I don't know if you've seen the all 22 tape from Jefferson's touchdown. Cousins definitely could have thrown it to Hawkinson too. He was open as well.
Well, that's okay. I have Jefferson. I have Jefferson on my fantasy team, so I would rather Jefferson get the touchdowns. Honestly, I would rather just see the Vikings win games if we're being open and honest here. But getting into my game ball on the defensive side, I'm just going to read the text that I sent to you after I sent you my score prediction, and you said LFG, exactly LFG, and then I said dubs on dubs, Danielle Hunter, foul sack game. It's time. Game ball, excuse me. It is time. Danielle Hunter, I'm thinking back to 3-4 years ago when we had 9 or 10 sacks against, was it Matt Stafford then? It was, it was Matt Stafford, and we just annihilated him in that game. And so I'm thinking back to that, and I just feel like the Vikings pass rush was really good for half the season so far. And then it's kind of fallen off. So I think that we're going to have another 9-sack game on Sunday, because it feels like this Vikings pass rush is a volcano that is just ready to blow. And I think Sunday is when it blows. I'll give my score prediction very quickly, and then I'll pass it to you for final thoughts and a score prediction, and then we'll get out of here. But I've got the Vikings winning this game 33-24. That is 33-24. And I think this is a game where the Vikings go up I think the Vikings dominate the first half to the tune of a 21-3 halftime score. And then this is where it gets interesting. Second half, Detroit comes out. They score 3 straight touchdowns. So it's now 21-24. And Vikings fans are peeing their pants. Well, oh my God, it's happening. And then the defense starts getting the 9 sacks. And we go on and we ride to victory. We win 33-24. The offense explodes. The defense explodes. And we come on Monday night screeching like banshees that we won the T. Shelton hat. This kind of feels like a bowl game. And I hate that Cousins called it the T. Shelton hat game, because that's all that's in my head now, is just that's all that's really playing. But we come on Monday night feeling very confident about this team. We get the blowout win. We beat a team that's hotter than heck right now, and we do it with a dominant second half of football. outside of, the 3 straight touchdowns that we give up. So there you go. There's the I have went deep. I need it. I need to blow somebody out so bad. I just want to do the goodie and be happy and not have a heart attack in the middle of a football game. So I'll pass it off to you for your score prediction, because spoiler, I think it's going to be a heart attack game.
So does this mean that the Vikings are again going to get shut out in the third quarter and then just go crazy in the fourth quarter? Is that what you're saying?
I don't know if they will do like a Dallas, just put maybe. I mean, it would only be, according to my little calculation, 22 points in the fourth quarter, which means we're gonna go for 2 or kick a lot of field goals. But I'm down. I'm 100% down. I don't know, man. You know what? Yeah, we're going full Dallas. We're putting make it 56-24. Just keep running it up. We're just gonna get scoop and skulls and pick sixes and touchdowns, and I'm feeling it. I'm feeling myself tonight, Will.
All right, so while Jordan is being emotional and overexcited here, I'll be a little bit more realistic. Every game the Vikings have played effectively since week 3 has been a nail biter throughout the Dallas game. It'll be close again. Let's just be frank here. I don't see a whole lot of defense being played here. The Vikings defense is frankly not very good. They've been situational. One little caveat on that, though. The Lions are the best red zone offense in the league. And now the Vikings have really shut teams down in the red zone the last 2 weeks. I think they only allowed 1 touchdown in 9 trips between the Jets and the Patriots games. But like I said, this isn't the Jets and the Patriots water pistol offense. The Lions can punch it in and they can score. And so I think it's going to be high scoring. Frankly, I think the Vikings, if they keep this lower scoring, they'll have honestly a better chance to win, because like you said earlier, Jordan, you want to keep the Lions offense off the field. And so, getting into a shootout with one of the best offenses in the league probably isn't the best recipe for success, but let's also be honest about the Vikings offense. They have played 4 of the top 10 defenses in the NFL the last 4 weeks. They have done mostly very good against them, save the Dallas game. Scoring 33 in Buffalo, 33 against New England, 27 against New York. So it's not outlandish to see the Vikings score 37, and they're going to win this game 37-34. It's going to be nail-biting. Most likely, Greg Joseph will hit a game-winning field goal. It's just probably the way this game is going to go. We'll probably all be stressed just because that's what the Vikings do to us most Sundays. But I think the reason why I'm taking the Vikings, is just I think they're the better team, but also is the situational part of this game. The Vikings have clearly shown to be literal masters at it. Yes, there's got to be some luck involved, but also 9 straight can't be all luck. And the Lions, on the other hand, like I said earlier, have struggled in close games. So again, it's going to come down to some clutch plays and some smart plays, and Dan Campbell does not have a smart buttoned up team. On the other hand, the Vikings are. So that'll win the game for the Vikings again, like it always has this season. So my final just tiny little thought, it's looking like we'll get Cam Dantzler back. I don't even think he's on the injury report this week, which is huge. He's not even on the initial injury report. So that's huge. He'll probably be starting on Sunday opposite Patrick Peterson. Unfortunately, my favorite of Caleb Evans, he is on the injured reserve, which is kind of a heartbreaker for him, and for the team. He's had a pretty good rookie season when he has seen the field, but another concussion. That means he's out at least until week 18, I believe. So tough break for a Caleb, but wishing him the best. That's it. On to Detroit. I'm excited for this one. I think it'll be another fun, wild one. A lot of offense, let's be frank, is fun for them.
Looks like we froze up a little bit here. So I am going to jump in. Here we go. Improv time. Wait, Will, can you hear me?
Sorry, I lost you for a second.
Yes, we disconnected. But okay, continue, please.
No, I was just going to hand it back to you.
Okay, all right. I panicked there for a hot second, and you could see it. I'm going to rewatch this tomorrow. You're going to see it in my eyes, the panic. And also, we're going to see the fear in Detroit's eyes as we are unified in selecting the Vikings to win this game. Make sure to check out Unified Athletic Wear for all of your jersey needs, all of your just cool sweatpants and cool shirts. They make cool stuff. Check them out. Make sure to follow the show on Twitter at LTB Vikings. Follow Will on Twitter at WillBadLose. Go Twitter handle. And check out the Bad Loser blog and VikingsTerritory.com. And let's all agree on one thing, whether it's a blowout, whether it's close, whether it's a loss. The Vikings are winning this division this season at some point. And also, it's going to be fun on Sunday, I think. I think this is going to be a very fun, measuring stick game. The Vikings, this kind of has playoff atmosphere to it a little bit. So let's see what the Vikings are made of. Let's go out. Let's get a division win, and let's put on some T-shirts and hats, shall we? So as we always do here at Load the Box, we will leave you with a skull, y'all.